Hello again, everyone. It's been a while since I've done a fountain pen perfect pairings video. That's kind of a tongue twister. I actually had to try that a couple times before I could get it right. But I wanted to do one with this new combination. The pen is new to me, and also the nib that I have on here is new to me, with an old standby ink. So I will show you a writing sample once I've showed you the pen and the nib a little bit. So this was, I mean, the pen itself is in line with what hand-turned acrylic pens are going for these days. That's what this is. This is my first ever, well, my first ever that I've received. I actually have a couple of commissioned pens out there that I'm still waiting for. But this is the first commissioned pen that I've actually received. I saw this particular blank on a pen maker's Instagram, and I had been looking for this color for a while. This is Water Lily Koi by Brooks, who are the same people who run Carolina Pen Company. And nothing has really done this combination justice. Like, you look at pictures of this and it does not truly represent how beautiful this combination is. And I've really been liking, and pretty much all media that I've been dealing with lately, I've really been liking this sort of pink and green combo. Although this is more sort of pinkish lavender, bordering on magenta purple in here, and sort of a green gold color. And I really love this combo. And then it is swirled with white. And I actually did have a note for the pen maker to try, because he had a few different blanks with this material, and I said, you know, to the extent possible, try and find me one that doesn't have a ton of white in it, because this combination can have a lot of white, and sometimes that obscures sort of the color mixture. So I think he did a really good job, because you know, the heavy concentration of white is here at the bottom, which I think makes it very aesthetically pleasing, and then there's plenty of that beautiful swirl of color, especially in here, which is so pretty. Yes, this is one of my favorite blanks that I've gotten in a hand-turned pen. So what I should say is that this pen is from River City Pen Company, and I've ordered a few pens from them, and they've always been incredibly nice. And the turnaround time on this was actually really fast, and that's kind of unusual for custom made pens or commissioned pens. To be fair, the other pens that I have on order are pens where the blank needs to be made first, and then the pen made out of the blank. So there's an extra process, and they probably have a longer queue and all of that. But this came rather fast, and I do have a little bit of washi tape showing me what nib is on here. And as you'll see, it's kind of hard to see on this washi tape, this is a fine Bock Palladium nib on this. And I had been searching for so long for a fine palladium nib, and for those of you that don't know, Bock actually made palladium nibs for Visconti for quite a while, and then Visconti started making their own nibs, and they're not making them out of palladium anymore, they're making them out of gold. So I kind of hit Visconti at the end of when they were using palladium nibs, and anyway, if you've seen the video I have on my channel about trying to order a palladium nib on a Visconti and being disappointed, you'll know my saga about trying to get a palladium nib in fine. So Visconti is an Italian pen maker that is really high end, and I only have one, and I do like it, and I've actually replaced the gold nib that I got on there with another palladium nib, but that was medium. And I actually got a great deal on the medium palladium nib. So not such a great deal on this palladium nib. This was rather spendy. I will put a link to fpnibs.com, which is where I purchased this palladium nib. fpnibs.com is located in Spain, and they have a lot of sort of unusual nib materials that you don't find everywhere, and then they do nib grinding in addition. So you can just get standard Yovo or Bock nibs with a nib grind as well, and their nib grinds have always been really beautiful. I did not get a nib grind on this because the nib itself was super spendy. I mean, this, my husband's probably gonna watch this video and he'll be like, what? So this nib was almost as much as the rent on my first apartment, if that gives you any indication. Although it was a really cheap and crappy apartment that was condemned, by the way, which I did not know when I moved in. But anyway, so he probably can't even rent that condemned apartment for the amount of money that, that I spent on this nib. It'd probably be more than that, basically, is what I'm saying. So I'll have the link so you'll see. But I love the palladium nibs. The first time I tried that medium palladium nib, I was like, oh no, I'm really in love with this, and they're not cheap. So no one was carrying these palladium nibs, and I reached out to a variety of sellers of nibs who carry Bock, and was asking about the palladium nibs, and all of them said, no, we're not carrying them, or there wasn't enough demand. People think they're too expensive, yada, yada. And I had written to fpnibs.com many months ago because I got a platinum nib from them. And I said, any chance you're ever going to be carrying palladium nibs? And they said, yes, eventually. And they said eventually would be the end of 2021. But as it turns out, it was sort of partway through 2022 when they posted them, and I kind of jumped on it and got a fine palladium nib because that was sort of the sweet spot that I was thinking would be good for me. I think I probably could have even gone finer with an extra fine because these nibs really write very broadly. And they have a little bit of spring to them, which I really like. If you like a stiff nib, this is not going to be the one for you. But if you like a really beautiful, soft feeling nib, this is where it's at. Oh, and you can also see that beautiful swirling here on the grip section. Oh, I just love this pen so much. And so I had gotten this made for a Bock nib, Bock number 6 size nib. And then, shortly after I ordered it, this nib became available, and I was like, that's where that's going to go. It's going to go on this pen. So, and the ink, I think, is a really great match for the purplish pink that is in here. Let's make sure we're going here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you can see the writing. Oh, and this paper, by the way, I'm not quite sure what paper this is exactly, but this is what came with my Drillog dip pen. And I've been trying to use it and see, it's not as smooth as Tomoe River, but I think it works fairly well, although you can see a little bit of bleeding already with this. It's a very wet nib as well. So this is a Water Lily Koi. Oh, and that's because I had it open for so long. Not the nib. Water Lily Koi. By Brooks Blanks, pen by River. Yeah, this paper's crap. River City Pen Company. Every time I go away from using like this, oh, I'm so sorry, you can't see that. Every time I go away from using Tomoe River or it's not my favorite, but the Cosmo Air Light, anytime I go away from sort of those really high-end fountain pen papers, I'm always disappointed. So this is another disappointment, but I don't even think you can buy this paper. This is really just what I had on hand at the side of my desk today, and I didn't have a lot of time, so I wanted to just kind of pull it out and write with it. So this is the Water Lily Koi Blank by Brooks Blanks. The pen is by River City Pen Company. The nib is a Bock Palladium fine nib. And then the ink is Pilot Hiroshizuku Yamabudo. I got so excited about my pen and my nib that I got that out of frame for a little while. I apologize, but I wanted to zoom in so that you could see how it writes. And it is, you can actually get, ooh, and again, I've had this out for a little, open for a little while. So you can actually get some line variation with just a little bit of pressure. I would not put a lot of pressure on that at all because you don't want to spring the tines. But you can see based on the level of pressure here, we have some smaller lines and here's some heavier lines. And you probably could get some variation in your writing because you can see that a little bit there in the loops. But I am going to close this up because it's clearly going dry from all the exposure because I have plenty of ink in here. So I'm going to go ahead and close that up. On a normal day when I'm just writing with this, this writes wonderfully, never goes dry. It's super smooth. The nib is super smooth. Even on this sort of, I would say, more textured paper than Tomoe River, it still works really well. But this is just such a beautiful pen. So if you are interested in a splurge nib, I will put the link down below to fpnibs.com where I purchased the Palladium nib. You can also get less expensive nibs from them. Shipping is kind of pricey because it is coming from Spain, but the super fast, like 1 or 2 day shipping is the same as the standard shipping price, or, you know, like $1 more or euro more. So, you know, go ahead and get it sent to you and you'll get it in 2 days, I think. But they have a variety of nibs. So I don't order from them until I have something specific in mind, or I know that I want several things from them so that I can just pay for shipping once at the time. So, and this pen company, I will put a link down below to the River City Pen Company so that you can see that. They have a lot of ready-made available pens, but they also do commissions depending on what they have as far as blanks go. So feel free to reach out. Super nice guy runs the company. You know, super nice. It's one of those companies, small companies that I feel really good supporting because they're so friendly. So there's that. And then of course, Pilot Yamabudo is a classic. And I felt like it just went so well with the purplish color in this pen. So that's why I'm calling this a perfect pairing. Really beautiful pen, lovely nib, matching ink, and there you go. All right, well, that's all I had for you today. Feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. I hope to see you next time, but in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.